Another plaintiff is Mr. Maurice Griffin.
Good evening. My name is Maurice Griffin, and I'm here pretty much to say that I was robbed. I was robbed from an agreement we had. I would have never joined this pre-apprenticeship program if it wasn't agreed to me that I would have had a union card upon completion. They guaranteed me a union card. They said it's not a question of whether we have it, it's just a question if you complete the program or not. And I completed. I came every day on time, early, I did my work, and as you can see, they didn't give me anything in return. And I'm here just to let everybody know that I'm not going to stand for this. Thank you.
As you can see, all of the plaintiffs, from what I understand, are people of color. And as most of you know, when this project was in contention and we were battling in the streets of Brooklyn, literally the Battle of Brooklyn, unfortunately it fell along racial lines. And they preyed upon the high unemployment rate, particularly within communities of color. And they led individuals to their detriment. They led them to believe that they in fact would be employed and they would in fact get a construction job in and around the Atlantic Yards project. It's important to know that of the union members who work there, it's my understanding that a very small number, less than 20%, are individuals who actually live in either Community Board 6, 8, 3, or 2. And that the vast majority of the individuals who are working on the arena as of today are not residents of New York City at a time when there is high unemployment and at a time when, again, the recession has particularly hit hardest communities of color. It is truly a travesty. The next speaker is the attorney who is representing this class. She is an attorney with the South Brooklyn Legal Services, and her name is Nicole Salk. Ms. Salk?
Hi. Good afternoon. My name is Nicole Salk. I work in the Workers' Rights and Benefits Unit at South Brooklyn Legal Services. This is being brought by several attorneys in our office. This lawsuit is being brought today because it's about broken promises and exploitation. The plaintiffs were all experienced. All of these 7 plaintiffs were experienced construction workers. They were experienced in the construction trades, and they entered into the pre-apprentice training program because they wanted to get union jobs, because those were good-paying jobs, and that's why they entered into the pre-apprentice training program. However, representatives of Forest City, Radnor, and Bild made promises over and over again of union membership and union jobs at Atlantic Yards. But the plaintiffs never got the union jobs that they were promised. And not only did they not get the jobs that they were promised, they had to engage in hard labor with no pay. They worked for 2 months on a private home, remodeling a private home in Staten Island, which was very unsafe, and they got no pay for that, not a cent. They did not receive a cent for their labor. Now, we allege in our lawsuit in federal court that representatives of Forest City, Radnor, and Bild and other defendants in this lawsuit have failed to fulfill the promises of union jobs at Atlantic Yards in violation of state contract law claims, federal and state labor law, and engaged in deceptive practices in violation of the New York State Consumer Protection Act. Thank you.
Before we call our last speaker, it's important to know that within the parameters of the Community Benefits Agreement, there was a provision that a monitor would be hired. Well, it's from my understanding, a monitor to monitor the employment situation has yet to be hired, and I'm not quite sure whether or not any of the other agreements that are contained within the Community Benefits Agreement, which unfortunately was not signed by a member of government. It was between private entities and Forest City, Radnor, that the majority of the provisions within that agreement have not been complied with. And so I would urge the media to ask Forest City, Radnor with regards to the status of the monitor who is apparently monitoring the employment situation, the minority business enterprise, and the affordable housing. The last speaker representing Senator Velmanette Montgomery is Mr. Jim Vogel.
Senator Montgomery's statement. This lawsuit is what comes of broken promises. Chalk it up to one more from this developer, but this time he's stiffing his supporters. The plaintiffs who are standing up for their rights supported this project on the assurance that they would see a benefit from it. Jobs and the ability to support their families. They were deliberately misled. They were promised not only jobs on the Atlantic Yards project, but also union cards, which hold the promise of more good jobs and a good future for their families. These assurances were a cruel hoax on these people. This suit reflects the community's disappointment and outrage with this project. DDDB and many other groups are in support of this lawsuit. It is a testament to the fact that the anger felt by this community because of the harm done is long-lasting, both for longtime opponents and now for disappointed supporters. It is sadly something we can all agree on. We were all stiffed. I wish these outrages had not happened, that these broken promises had never been made, that these people had not been misled and their hopes crushed. But I applaud them for standing up and saying what was done to them was wrong and that they want to see justice done.